And poof, just like that, the Phantom disappears. Still on the Derby trail, but will he actually win the Derby?
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Track Phantom, there he is. In terms of Game of Silks, Track Phantom, solid performer. $4,000 all-time Silks rewards so far for the Phantom himself in 7 races, 3 first place, 2 seconds, and a third. Very stellar performance from the Track Phantom. And right now, looks like he is aiming towards the Kentucky Derby, running a number of Derby prep races. But is he a legitimate contender? He was one of those horses that early on, say for example, in the days of like an instant coffee, winning something like the Lecomte seemed like a major achievement early on in January, and then you find out later that no, maybe there's some other horses on the horizon that are even bigger and better than Track Phantom. And Lecomte is only just the most recent race that this horse has run in. Anyway, let's get to talking about Track Phantom here because this is a horse that we could be seeing in the Kentucky Derby, trained by Steve Asmussen, has been Joel Rosario has been his jockey in the past. I do not think that's going to be the case coming forward, but we shall see. We shall see. Joel Rosario could be the jockey, but I really doubt it. We'll find a jockey for Track Phantom, obviously. Sire's Quality Road. Quality Road been around for a while. Solid sire. How Track Phantom got here. He was the winner of the Lecomte. He was the winner of the Gunrunner, and he came in second place at the Risen Star, and he came in fourth place at the Louisiana Derby. But anyway, let's look past that for right now. Yeah, we got a video clip on that coming up here. Race notes, yes. As I talked about, like with Fierceness, this is a front runner. This is a horse, even probably more so than Fierceness, that will want to get out at the front. That is the race that he runs, the style that he has. Ooh, getting some shiftings on the table here. Sorry about that. In terms of pedigree notes, Quality Road, coming from Elusive Quality, is the winner of the Florida Derby, the Woodward, and the Metropolitan back in the day. Did not run in the Kentucky Derby, I do not believe. Pace profiles, we mentioned this is a pace setter, and once we show you the PP, you're going to understand that even to a greater degree. In terms of BreezeNet, speed figures, top speed figure did happen at Louisiana Derby, even though he placed fourth place there. He got a 97 on that speed figure. The projection here for Track Phantom, pace setter, Rabbit comes to mind. Did I even spell Rabbit right there? I think there's a second B in Rabbit. We're willing to overlook that for the sake of this video, though. Pace and Fade finishing mid pack, Frowny Face. Yeah, so this is a horse that, as I mentioned before, winner of the Lecomte and the Gun Runner. Those are some early races in terms of Derby preps. There was a lot to get excited about Track Phantom. Saw him beat Nash a couple times. Nash, I think we've all found out now, is probably more of a short distance one turn horse. Early on, we thought, hey, he had a pretty big maiden win, looked pretty good in some early races. Maybe this was a solid win for Track Phantom beating Nash. Not so much. Not so much. Nash has been beaten a few times since then as well. So Track Phantom peaking early, so to speak, and racing against some better horses, I think, and finding his way into the middle of the pack. But still, still has some consideration. Let's take a look at that PP. So broke his maiden third time out, running in races at Churchill Downs, running really strong races too. Let's take a look really closely at those early pace slots there, where you can see he is in first place. At the 3/4 mile mark, the half mile mark, nearly every single race. This is a horse that wants to be on the pace, that needs to be on the pace, that will be on the pace. You can even see on that last one that I'm going to show you in a second there at the Louisiana Derby was on the pace the entire way through and got passed at the very end. Going to happen, right? So he won third time out over Lat Long. Notable horse to beat there. And then going into the Gun Runner, Uh, didn't necessarily set the pace early on, but took it over afterwards, beating Snead and Nash. Snead haven't heard from since. Nash, beating them by 1 1/4 lengths there. Then moving on to Lecomte, some of us thought, oh, wait, this is Nash's rebound race. No, not so much. Nash came in second in that one by 2 and 3/4 lengths um, to Track Phantom in that one. So again, we thought Track Phantom, this is this is your pace horse for the Derby. This is something to look forward to here. He's pacing it out there, going a mile and a 16th, looking pretty solid. And then we get into the Risen Star, and he faces a horse like Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone beats him by half a length. Track Phantom being beaten by Sierra Leone. What does that mean? So we go into the big one, the G1, the Louisiana Derby, and let me cue that one up for y'all.
It's Track Phantom and Common Defense. They're a neck apart as they turn for home. Antiquarian is sweeping outside of Tuscan Gold. Then toward the inside, Awesome Ruda. Hall of Fame down there with the rail. Catching Freedom is unwinding on the extreme outside to the final quarter of a mile. And it's Common Defense. Toward the inside, Track Phantom determined. Track Phantom sticking that neck out. Just holds Common Defense. Moving up Tuscan Gold. And here comes Catching Freedom, who's charging for Flavian Pratt. They come past the 16th. Last to first. It's Catching Freedom to win the Louisiana Derby. Anna Marie was second to Catching Freedom. Tuscan.
Yeah, so there you have it. This is a race that is the closest prep race possible to the Kentucky Derby in terms of distance. It is a race that goes a mile and 3/16, just 1/16 off of the 1 1/4 that is the Kentucky Derby. And what did you see there? Track Phantom going into the turn, as it states here on the past performance, had the lead by half a length. But then came the wave of horses that still had a lot in the tank. The horses that were that were hanging out from behind. You have Catching Freedom, Honor Marie, passing Track Phantom at the end there, and making it look rather easy. Track Phantom behind by over 2 lengths in that one. Track Phantom clearly did not have what it takes to completely close out a race after setting the pace at that distance. Is it possible that he is going to be trained up by Steve Asmussen and turn it around and end up putting together a better race than what we saw at the fairgrounds? Yeah, it's absolutely possible, but it's something we haven't seen yet. And we're looking at a lot of horses here that are strong closers that are going to be a little bit more favorable when it comes to a 1 1/4. Any horse that gets on that pace, and let's take a moment and consider this. Track Phantom, as you can see from this past performance, wants to be on that pace. Look at all those ones that you see before the finish. 1 1 1 1 1. Try to count them. It's too many to count. Trust me, I've tried. After a couple beers, it's difficult. So, if anyone out there is going to be challenging Track Phantom is going to be answering the bell, which is going to make him more tired at the end, which is going to make him more of a rabbit, which is going to make him fade even more. He'll be lucky to be finishing 10th in the Derby if that is the case. And if he is not conditioned properly to withstand pressure from some sort of rabbit, some sort of extra pace horse. And there's going to be a few out there. Dornock is going to be out there. Dornock is going to want to be pressuring the pace. Fierceness, as I've talked about before, Fierceness, who dropped a 148 at 9 furlongs, is going to be out there wanting to apply pressure to the pace, if not set it himself. Not to even mention what's coming over from Japan and what sort of horses we have there. We've seen in the past. What was it? Wait for Summer, uh, setting a pretty insane pace a couple years back. So let's keep that in mind. Track Phantom. I'm going to say this is a pace and fade. This is a horse that's going to be finishing middle of the pack, maybe a 10th place finish somewhere around there. Could look good early on. It's going to fade, and then you're going to see the wave of horses overtake. Is it going to be a mid-pack closer, or is it going to be a deep closer? Remains to be seen. Or is it going to be someone else who's on the pace, like an epicenter that can actually withstand? No, those aren't words. Sustain the pace. So that's all I got on Track Phantom, guys. I wish I had more. This is a horse I had tops on my list early on in the year, but got a little excited a little bit early on Track Phantom. And here we are talking about him getting ready for the Derby, but not so excited. If you guys disagree with me, hit me up in the comments. Let me know about it. Let me know where you guys have Track Phantom finishing, and best of luck to you.